Chapter 20 Starting Anew. Now that we have established a guideline for using the creator mindset, it's important that we talk about your future outlook on all things involving that mindset. As a result of reading this book, I hope you now feel that it is time to start anew and make a fresh start on living your creator mindset in all that you do, in your business, your career, and your life. Creativity and reinvention. Mike Chopik was a big fan of sports cars. He was just 13 years old in 1972 when he wrote to his favorite German car manufacturer asking for details about an upcoming model. Mike was unlike other boys because he wasn't a fan of BMW or Mercedes, both of which were very popular in the United States at the time. Instead, he was a fan of a less popular manufacturer by the name of Porsche. Mike wrote to Porsche asking if they would be exporting the 911 RS to the United States. It was the race car of his dreams. Amazingly, one day several weeks later, a handwritten letter arrived from the Porsche factory in Stuttgart. He tore it open to see that Porsche had replied to him personally, assuring him that yes, the car would be available in the United States and that Porsche would love to have him as a customer when he was old enough. Today, Mike owns 3 Porsche cars, achieving what he desired as a teenager. That letter is still a treasured relic of his childhood, but this story is not about Mike. It's about a company that managed to overcome a mistake with reinvention. It was a big, messy, and horrible mistake that is unlike the other examples in this book because it occurred during World War II. Porsche started as a car company that made vehicles for the Nazis. Ferdinand Porsche, the owner, invented the VW Beetle for Hitler, and under Porsche's parent company, Volkswagen, they had their own concentration camp, Arbeitsdorf, at which prisoners were forced to make cars, tanks, and other vehicles. Their focus at the time was tanks and submersibles, vehicles that would drive the German army on their conquest of Europe, spreading Nazi ideology far beyond the borders of the home country. But soon, the war was over and the Allied forces had won. However, this story is not about the past, it's about the future. How in the world was Porsche able to transcend its history as a car manufacturer that fed the Nazi war machine to the car maker of young Mike Chopik's dreams? The answer lies in reinvention, a revisioning of epic proportions. Shortly after the war ended, Ferdinand Porsche died, and with him died Porsche's past. Leadership passed to Ferdinand Porsche's son, Ferry, who broke with the past in a hurry. He got creative and decided to direct Porsche's attention to a new and different goal, one that would be able to evolve and stay attuned to changing trends. The company would never make military vehicles again. The new vision was to make the world's best sports cars and turn the company in a new direction. Ferry knew that this would take time and the best engineering and design. He also knew that it was going to be a tough mountain to climb to get to the same level as their competition, which included Bugatti and Ferrari. But it was a worthwhile goal that was far different from the one that was buried in the ashes of history. The thing we can learn from Porsche is that no matter what mistakes we have made, and no matter how severely wrong we have gotten it in the past, it is possible to learn from the past and move on to a brighter future. Porsche today exists almost entirely in the realm of dreams, a maker of luxurious sports cars with exhilarating performance and engineering. That is an astonishing feat and a far cry from its beginning. It is a reinvention so successful that most people today don't even know how the company started. In 1999, Porsche decided to finally make amends for its past when it set up a fund to help compensate concentration camp prisoners who were used to build its cars during the war. It also commissioned a study that looked at its past engagements with the Nazi Party and released a comprehensive report. Although those gestures were largely symbolic, today, Porsche is laser-focused on sports cars, abandoning its earlier roots and replacing them with a modern vision of the reliable sports car. The creator mindset allows for past mistakes to be seeds in the soil of progress. Those seeds end up being the fruit of reinvention, but to get there, you need to have two main components. Number 1, break away from the past. And number 2, recognize your past. I know that these may seem somewhat contradictory, but in the end, both steps set you on a path toward success and allow you to create the spark of creativity that will enable you to reinvent. Let's take a look at how you can make each one a reality for your business. Number 1, break away from the past. If you don't like your career's or company's past, change its future. In the case study above, Porsche's post-war vision had nothing to do with its vision during the war. From killing machines to vehicles of sporting pleasure, Porsche literally reinvented itself into a different field. All it took was the will to change paths and break away from the past. When you break away from the past, your future actions stand on their own merit. They are based not in any historical context, but in a context that you deem important. Therefore, if the past is something you would like to change, there is no better way to change it than by changing the future. Whatever it is that you do, you certainly can determine your future by deciding that you do not want to be defined by your past. It may take a few days, weeks, or years depending on the severity of your history to overcome the stigma of your past, but it is entirely possible if you will it. Your movement toward this reinvention is dependent on how strongly you desire to change it. Out of the past can come any future you wish. Number 2, recognize your past. To avoid being defined by the past and succeed in your reinvention, you must recognize your past at some point. Each case is different, but at some time in your reinvention, you must recognize where it is that you come from. Porsche decided in the late 1990s to recognize its past and affirm its roots, but this is not an exact recipe for everyone. Often, recognizing the past needs to happen up front for your reinvention to take hold. But no matter when you do it, recognizing the past helps anchor how far you have come from your original mandate, fully rounding out your transition to reinvention. Reinvention is completely possible and often is a worthwhile goal in pursuing creativity in an ever-changing global environment. Keeping yourself and your company fresh and up to date will become more and more relevant in the future creative economy. Starting on a new path and setting new goals are paramount in your embrace of the principles of the creator mindset. As you move away from the stagnant, these two tools will help you shift your path to wherever it is you would like to go. And that is powerful and worthwhile.